Hi, and welcome to Conversations in Public Relations. I'm Mary Fletcher Jones. You know, it's almost 2013, and I don't know about you, but I have a lot of resolutions to make. Well, I wanted to ask our guest here, Leah Ibraheem, who is a Washington, D.C. area marketing consultant, about her resolutions and also what she might advise her clients in the new year. Leah, welcome.
Thank you, Mary. I can't believe it's almost 2013.
I know.
2012 went so quick. And I do have a number of New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you, but I tend to make these long lists and get totally overwhelmed. But as a communicator, there are a couple of things I want to do in 2013. And the first is really look at my technical skills toolkit. And, there are things that I know a lot about, and then there are some areas where I really need to develop. So one of those things is HTML I'd like to learn more about, and I'm looking at maybe even learning to do a little bit of coding.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
finding that more and more work is focused on this, and more clients and employers want people who really have a more diverse skill set. So I'm looking at skills that maybe I haven't picked up over the years.
Would you say that as we moved into the 2000 years that the employers and the clients that are talking to us want more of a hybrid professional? It used to be you had web developers who did the coding, and you had marketing professionals, and it seems like they want people to be a bit of both.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've seen a lot of that they're looking for, a developer who maybe knows a little bit about strategy and a little bit about communications, and they're looking for a marketing person who knows a little bit about code, or certainly enough about it to go and work directly with the developer. And people are starting to really kind of pare down their staffs and really look at, who do I really need in here? So the more, different skill set you can pick up, the better off you are.
So communicators should be working on your tech skills in 2013. And what about you? What other things are you planning to work on in the new year?
I think also probably some more networking and just making more, partnerships and alliances, meeting more people, getting out more. I think the more supportive people you have in your network and the more people you have to bounce ideas off of, the more creative you can be.
Let's talk a little bit about networking online versus FaceTime. I mean, of course, we meet people on Twitter and Facebook more and more these days, especially as communicators. And then we have the times where we go out to lunch together or in the coffee time. And can you do more one or the other? How do you think those two work together?
I think it's best to really combine them. I mean, I know that we met on Twitter,
That's
so
right.
certainly it's a good place to meet people. And what you really want to do is start those relationships online and then decide which ones would be good to take in person. And there is nothing that really compares to meeting people in person and sitting down over coffee or lunch and talking to them. Nothing you do online is really going to compare to that experience, and it's easy to say, well, I'm just too busy to meet people, and I always find that anytime I make myself really get out and do that, it's well worth the time that I took to do it.
So advice for communicators is definitely take those Twitter or LinkedIn contacts and schedule those coffee dates in 2013. What about conferences and professional development? Is that you have your eye on anything particular that you're thinking about in the new year?
That's definitely on my list. And I think, especially with conferences and professional development, the key is really to just invest wisely, and to make sure that you're not only, going to the sessions and getting the knowledge you need out of those, and you're being an attentive person that way, but also making use of the networking opportunities and the time to go to lunch and the trade shows and all those things as well.
One challenge that I'm finding as a communicator, and it's definitely one of my resolutions, I have this big stack on my computer desktop of white papers I want to read, especially about things like mobile marketing, which I'm trying to learn more about. But it's kind of overwhelming. I subscribe to a lot of blogs, and I subscribe to a lot of curated newsletters, and there's so much out there. How do we cope with this tremendous amount of information that we really need to stay on top of?
Yeah, I mean, you have a really good point, because that is a huge challenge for me as well. I subscribe to a lot of stuff, and I know that people work very hard to make these white papers and to create this useful content, and there just isn't time to read it all. And a lot of people recommend that you just set aside a few minutes a day to, go through and read it. and, read what you can and delete the rest. And, those white papers will come back around.
That's true.
If it's something that a lot of people are reading and a lot of people are getting value about, you'll be emailed about it again. So sometimes you just have to say, these are the, 5 emails I'm going to read today, or I'm going to open all these emails, but I'm only going to read the top story. I'm not going to try and get through the 20 or 30 other stories that are in there. And you just have to kind of pick and choose.
That sounds good. Okay, so now you work with a variety of clients, and I would imagine that you would have some advice for them as a marketing professional in 2013. Is there, say, like maybe a top 2 resolutions you'd advise people, businesses, and nonprofits to do?
Sure. I think, the easiest clients to work with are the ones who know what their goals are. So as a business, it's important to really sit down and say, what do I want to do in 2013? And when I'm sitting down, next December, and I'm going through what I accomplished this year, what do I want those things to be?
Right.
What is the most important to me? What is it critical that I get done this year? Because when you sit down with the consultants that you hire for, be it your marketing or anything else you might need, if we don't understand what your goal is, we can't help you. So the better you understand what you want to do, the better we can help to get you there.
And they really need to do that thinking on their own, don't they? I mean, that's not something a consultant can come in and tell them, well, these are the goals for your company. I mean, that's the reason why they get up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, there are consultants who do that. But,
is that right?
Yeah, but hopefully, as a business owner, you know your business best.
Right.
And you know what you want to achieve. So, set those goals, and then we will come in and help you make that happen.
And would the same advice apply also for a nonprofit or association?
Oh, absolutely.
Even more so, maybe.
Even more so, because you have fewer resources to draw on.
Any other resolutions that you see for them, and particularly in the new year?
I think that's really the biggest one. Is just, resolve to have a vision this year. And, we all have limited resources, be it time, be it money, be it staff. So resolve to make the best use of what you have.
Do you think that they can get distracted a little bit because of everything new that's coming along, like social media and things like that? And maybe the tactics are so shiny and bright that they lose sight of kind of that important goal work?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, one of the most critical things to realize is that, Twitter is not a strategy.
Right.
Facebook's not a strategy. These are tactics that you use to implement your strategy. So I agree with you. I think that separation between strategy and tactics is critical, and that's something that absolutely we get lost in, because it's so easy just to start yourself a Twitter feed, and it's so easy to get lost in there.
When you've worked on your resolutions and goals in the past, has something worked well for you? Some little trick that you've done that's kind of helped you stay on track throughout the year?
I think it's important to, first of all, list them out, and then I throw on my calendar every couple of months to do a goal check.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so just to sit down, one morning and go back to that list I wrote last December and say, am I really doing any of these things? Are some of these goals unrealistic, or do they seem unimportant now and they need to be thrown out? And, where do I really want to focus?
Cool. And has that helped you kind of move toward that accomplishment on the important things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about resolutions in 2013 and how, as communicators, we can work toward our goals.
Oh,